mosh pit.
Yeah, exactly.
But you guys, just so you know, we are doing audience questions, so get them ready. But let's start off with how you guys sort of related to the fandom. I know you've been a fan for a long time with the original series.
A fan in general of just things?
Just of things.
I mean, I consider myself a fan person, a fan individual.
Yes. You're a fan of things. You like breathing air.
I'm a fan of air.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of croissants.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm a fan of croissants.
Well, la-di-da. I only have crescents.
Oh, God, no, those crescent rolls are good.
Yes.
Those Pillsbury Doughboy ones?
Yeah.
I've eaten a whole can of those ones.
This is what the fans want to hear from us.
Yeah.
Our take on pastries.
Pastries are good.
Very hungry.
Oh, nuts.
No, actually, the original show. Talk about your relationship to the original.
The original Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Yes.
Because that's what some people I know is from. I was obsessed with that show when I was a kid. When I was about 7 years old, my brother and I hated each other, and I tried to strangle him with a phone cord. When we would fight over, he wanted to watch like monster truck racing, and I wanted to watch like Anastasia and like, you know, corset dramas. You know, that's the kind of 7-year-old I was, y'all. Yeah, real cool. But the one thing we would agree on as kids was Mystery Science Theater 3000, because we loved it. We thought it was so funny, and Joel was like my hero, so he's pretty great. And so my being involved in this show is so incredibly, it's like a dream come true, really.
Yeah, same. I mean, I was obsessed with the show growing up. I had posters on my wall. I did fan art. I tried to send him a letter. It got returned. Because apparently just going to Mystery Science Theater, care of Minneapolis, Minnesota, wasn't good enough to get sent anywhere. And then one of the first things I did, like one of my first like showbiz Hollywood meetings, was like I was with the manager, and they were like, I was like, what would you do if you had a show? I was like, well, I would bring back Mystery Science Theater 3000, and then they laughed at me.
What?
But who's laughing now? The audience.
Yeah, it's true. Rub those suits' faces in the ground.
Yeah, all it took was 10 years later, and profit margins and nostalgia to go way up.
So how did you guys get involved in this version?
Funny story, I was at a Comic-Con in Seattle, no, not Seattle, Salt Lake City, and I saw Joel in the green room, and as I said, my brother is even a bigger fan than I am, and I saw Joel Hodgson. I was like, I'm going to rub my brother's face in this. And I said, I'm going to get a selfie with Joel. So that's the only reason I'm on the show, y'all, is I stealth selfied with Joel, and he was like, hey, what do you do? And I was like, I told him what I do. I do a lot of internet stuff. I also am on shows like Supernatural, and I said, oh. A few people want to know what Jensen smells like. Okay. So I told him, and then about a couple months later, he just sent me an email, said, hey, you want to be in the show? And it was, the only other equivalent email that made me squeal so much was when Joss Whedon sent me an email. It's like, can you sing -J? And that's when I got a job in Dr. Horrible. So, yeah, I don't ever get jobs through legitimate means.
For me, it was I met Joel when he was a guest on the Nerdist podcast, and then basically he just I ran into him at an art show the next night, and then I saw him.
You go to art shows?
I eat croissants and go to art shows. But I saw him at an art show for Wayne White, who's an incredible artist, and then I saw him at a live taping of the Harmon Quest podcast. That's why I was there hanging out, and he was like, "Hey man, are you stalking me?"
Oh, that's such an opener from Joel.
Yeah.
Hey man.
And I said, "Yes, put me in the show, or you will be gone forever." And then so he
that's
put me in
a way
the show.
to get a job. That's a way to get a job.
I'm a tall guy. I can do stuff like that. He was threatening. Also, I like Supernatural.
Wow.
That feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the characters that people might not know, because people get really invested in Kinga Job.
Well, Kinga Forrester is the daughter of Dr. Forrester, who is the original Mad, or I think the second Mad? I don't know, the legacy, first Mad, yeah. And so I am trying to carry on his legacy of evilness, And, but I'm a little bit not as evil. I'm a little ineffectual in my evilness, which makes me a little bit more insecure, but also angry. And my favorite part of playing Kinga is that we do a lot of singing. You know, we've done some singing. I got to do a duet with Neil Patrick Harris in our first season. Yeah, he's worthy of a whoop. And he smells very good. We're talking about smells of famous men, I know. So creepy.
Let's just go down the top 10 best smelling celebrities you know.
Eliza Dushku is pretty spicy.
Oh.
Anyway, hey, be respectful. Anyway, so Kinga's like an evil genius, but not really. She doesn't have a lot of confidence inside, so I play her like she wants to be evil and live up to her dad's name, but inside she's kind of like a little bit of a cheese melt, you know? I don't know what that means.
I think your character is the most evil out of all the Mats because she's just all about capitalism.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes
she's
her...
very en courant.
Yes.
Today is when I drop French words.
The way I approached my character was that I was so excited to be a part of Mystery Science Theater 3000 that I just couldn't help it and was excited to be on the show, and so I made that my character's thing, that he was just like happy to be anywhere involved, and so that's kind of how I did it.
Now, you guys know there's a lot of fan fiction about your characters.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you read any.
No, I got at Dragon Con, and if you've ever been to Dragon Con, you know that's a crazy place. Yeah. At Dragon Con once I got Penny Bad Horse fan fiction, which was uncomfortable because that's a real horse. And after that, I swore off all fan fiction. I respect anybody who does fan fiction. I think it's amazing and so wonderful. And in my new book, I even talk about how great it is to start that way with your own work. But I certainly don't want to see or read about me having sex with a horse, okay? Or a bot.
That's what I've gotten. I saw a drawing of me doing some terrible things to Crow T. Robot.
No!
Yeah.
No, not the robot.
Yes.
He have a part for that?
Yeah. Well, I made one.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't even know where to go from here. So I'm just going to ask about your book, Felicia, because...
You're going to ask me what?
Ask about your book.
Oh, I have a book. Yes, I have a book that just came out. It's called Embrace Your Weird, Face Your Fears, and Unleash Creativity. It is a funny, geeky self-help book about being a more creative person. So it's like an interactive workbook where you're supposed to draw T-Rexes, but also be introspective about who you are as a person, and then also read fart jokes that I write. So it's it just came out. It was a bestseller last week, so thanks everybody. It was a New York Times bestseller. My mom was semi-proud of me. She was like, why aren't you a higher number? I'm like, thanks, Mom. I wonder where I got my perfectionism issues from. But good thing I worked them out in this book. Yeah, so it's a really fun book, and I did it because after I wrote my memoir, You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost, so many people told me they started creating because of me, or got help because of anxiety or depression because of me, and I was like, oh, that seems worthy, and let's just, yeah, I want to do more about other people than just talk about myself.
Does that mean you've inspired fan fiction? Maybe you inspired that picture.
I mean, I've certainly, like I said, there's a little section in the book, like, just being playful and just being creative is really important. It's like a form of self-care, and I think it's really important for people to have that in their lives. And if you need a jump start by doing fan fiction, hopefully not about me and an animal, but or a robot, that would be good.
Don't stifle your own creativity because someone might call you weird, though.
No.
Don't shame people.
No, I just don't want to read it, but you can do what you need to do, y'all. All right? I give you total freedom. It's your book. You're supposed to write in it and tear the pages, and people are really uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you tear pages out of books, Jonah?
I don't read.
Great. Never would have guessed.
Yeah.
Audiobook. Guys, we're opening it up to you guys, so who's got questions?
Yeah, who has questions? Do we have a mic that's roaming or just like screaming?
There is a roaming mic, apparently.
There's a roaming mic? For real?
So just toss it between yourselves.
I mean, how's the person going to roam in this?
They can roam if they want to.
Maybe there's not a roaming
Let's see
mic.
the hands up.
Let's just put a hand up and then we'll scream, okay?
Because I can just walk right over here and hand you this. If that's
okay,
easy.
great. Look at you, Jenna.
Yeah, you know, not my first one.
Okay. Oh wait, we have a roaming mic. We have an individual with a roaming mic.
I will no longer kneel on the stage.
I'm going to name him Steve. Thank you, Steve. He doesn't know that I'm calling him Steve. Your name's Steve today. Great. Hi.
Hi, have you guys read your comic? The Mystery Science Theater comic?
Oh, I haven't. Yes, I have read this comic. The Mystery Science Theater comic is so funny because they take old comics, like real old comics, and then they put the characters in them. So we've done a couple staged readings of the first couple episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Issues. It's very funny. It also makes me realize that there are some bad comic books out there, just like there are really bad movies, and they really scrape the bottom of the barrel for this comic book.
They were of a time.
Yeah, really?
No, they were terrible.
Are you defending these comics?
I just don't like, I don't like, coming from a place of negativity. I want to celebrate these.
I celebrate all the 50s comics. I think they're wonderful. Girls are pretty.
But yeah, those are good. Those need to be in comic book form.
Yeah. It was cool to have. Did you like the way they drew you? Because sometimes
No, I hated it so much. There's been a lot of like weird looking drawings of me, and all it's made me do is I was like, maybe I should shave more.
Really? That's how you see yourself in a comic book, and your instant go-to is I should shave more?
Well, no, also like, maybe work out once in a while, drink less. There's a lot of things I thought of. I was just trying to...
They gave me a really nice nose job in the comic, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's what I would look like.
It's like, you're drawing my face, just give me a jawline, for crying out loud. It'd be so nice to have a jawline.
Next question. Steve, take that. His name's not Steve.
Hi. My name's Jillian.
Hey.
Nice to meet you guys. I just have a question about your process as actors. Felicia, you're an amazing actress.
Oh, thank you.
I was just wondering, like, what is your process for like character development? Like, how long do you take to like prep the backstory for your character? And Jonah, do you do like any improv beforehand, or like what's your process like?
Yeah. Process.
I mean, I was putting together an acting reel the other day, and I played 5 cops. And I was like, yeah.
I would never hire you as a cop. You have no authority at all.
Thank you. That's the best compliment I've ever received. No, but I can grow a mustache, so I think that's why.
It's just you got cop stash.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all your special skills?
Yeah, that's
cop stash.
Yes, cop stash. I think as far as like the things I've done, they've been pretty close to who I am, and so I just try and find the fun within it by improvising beforehand with the characters or within the scene, and just doing that. You've actually played other people.
I mean, not really. I mean, I'm always kind of a version of myself, which I think any actor is. I think if you want to, especially with film acting, you want to have a truth in your character that is really, at least has a touchstone with something you can empathize with. I do a lot of rebirth therapy. I read about 40, 50 pages of backstory. That's what... No, I'm not kidding. I'm just kidding. I do try to like make up a biography. I do, because I think the more detailed you get, I'm a writer too. I do a lot of writing, and so that approach, writing down just little incidents in their past with a character, especially connections with other people, I think that really helps. And then you have to throw all that work away and just really be in the moment, right? You can't be thinking, when I'm talking to you, I'm not like, you're not thinking about the next thing you're gonna say normally, right? You're just gonna react to what's happening to you. So you just have to build yourself, strong enough, like this is who I am under these circumstances, and then just react off the other person, because I think the best acting is when you can forget you're acting entirely.
Yeah.
Thank you, good luck. Are you an actor? You're trying? Well, you're good luck. You're gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Steve, next question. His name's not Steve.
Steve, there's someone about 15 people back, if you can make your way through the crowd.
Levitate over. Hi.
I've watched Felicia in movies since The Guild.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to ask
The Guild, yeah, that's my show. I wrote and I acted in it.
how do you balance writing a book and being an actress and being a mom and having a family all at the same time?
It's easy. It's so easy.
You complain all the time.
I complain. No, I do. It's I had a baby 2 years ago, and that was the big kick in the V. It was really hard. There's children here. No, it was very, very hard because if you know my work, for years and years and years, I've been doing videos. I produce everything. I write a lot. I wrote The Guild, all the episodes, every single thing we did. I had a company named Geek and Sundry that we did a lot of producing, tabletop, and Critical Role came out of there too. So I love being behind the camera and in front of the camera. And then I had a baby just because the doctors told me I couldn't have a baby. And I was like, do you know who I am? Yeah. So I had a baby and I'd never even held a baby before. And I'm like, oops, this is something I signed up for. So I had to kind of like cut out a lot in my life. You're laughing because it's true. I didn't even change her diaper for 2 weeks. So I'm like, I don't know how to do this. You do it. But so I had to cut out a lot of things in my life. I left my company. I stopped doing a lot of things in my life. And it was very hard because if you're a geek, right, we all kind of measure ourselves. We have our identity tied to a lot of things that we consume and the things we do with our friends, right? And it was that's an important part of my life. And like cutting it out made me have sort of a life crisis. And that's kind of why I wrote this book. Because it's kind of a journey together. It's kind of a D&D campaign. You rebuild your character. You kind of know who your enemies are and like learn what kind of weapons you need to bring. And then I send you on a quest at the end. It's, you know, that's underneath. That's deep nerd stuff. Anyway, but I kind of did that because I was trying to discover who I was as a creator again. And I think we all have times in our lives where we break up with someone, or we go to college, or get out of college, or have a baby, or retire, or whatever you're doing that kind of throws everything up into the air. And you kind of have to look inside and be like, oh, who am I now? And we get to be new people as we go along, but we have to be brave enough to kind of let other things go. So I just do the best I can, and the most important thing is spending time with my family at the end of the day, and also playing a little bit of video games. Because I can't let that go, you know? It's important.
While we're waiting for the next question, what are you playing right now?
I've been playing the Assassin's Creed DLCs, which I know I'm a little behind. Odyssey is amazing, right? Cassandra is like, I want her biceps. They are incredible. And I've been playing like a Steam game called Dicey Dungeons. I stream on Twitch every Saturday night because that's what cool people do, all right? Saturday night. It's cool, right? It's cool. Anyway, next question, Steve.
Hi, so first off I want to say how much I love Dr. Horrible. It's one of my favorite things ever. But I have a question for Jonah.
Yeah.
So, it's a question about an interview like 5 years ago. Would you say that your hatred for What I Got by Sublime is more or less so over the last 5 years?
There was, did someone say, answer for it? This is weird territory to talk about my feelings on Sublime, Southern California. I did a thing for the AV Club years ago, and it was an article called Hate Song, and you're just supposed to like riff and joke around about a song you hate. So I picked What I Got by Sublime, and the internet disagreed. And so I was in Long Beach not too long ago, ground zero. And some guy was like, I was at a bar at the jukebox, and the guy was like, why don't you put on some Sublime? Yeah, my friend Cash that I do my Jonah Radio podcast with, like, it's like some guy, like, it's like, Sublime fans are crazy. Like, my friend was wearing a Petaluma hat, and the guy went up to him and he's like, you killed Bradley! Like, fans are nuts for a band that was not that good. I'm sorry, you know it's catchy, sure, but you agree with me? Whoa, thank you so much. Get him!
Somebody get some security over there for that guy.
Yeah.
People get really possessive about songs. Like, they do. I said somewhere that I hate Boys of Summer, and I think half my family, you're turning on me, aren't you? I can feel it.
No, they don't care as much as Sublime because they weren't 12 when they got into Sublime. And they're like, no, there's nothing better than Sublime and Good Charlotte. And then they get older, they're like, no, I like Radiohead now. They all suck.
Whoa! Quick, talk about croissants again.
I'm signing autographs and taking pictures over at Autograph Valley.
You're gonna stab with a pencil.
What did you do to this? What did you do to this?
Boy, wow.
Thanks, man.
Way to turn the crowd.
I know.
Any other questions with Steve?
I see one right behind you, Steve. I'm calling you Steve too.
Hi. I just want to say that I really, really enjoy the show. Like, just period, in general, and it just makes me really, really happy. But, like, I'm kind of crying.
It's all right.
Thank you. You know, I don't know if you had this, so we're both huge fans of Mystery Science Theater, and like being writers on it made me hate the show for a while.
Yeah.
Because I had to watch like Killer Fish and what was that one with the 80s, the Bigfoot?
Oh, that was Cry Wilderness.
Cry Wilderness. I had to watch those movies like 15, 20 times each, and it doesn't get better the more you watch a terrible movie.
You realize that it's this crazy thing where you love the show, which the concept is people being tortured by bad movies. And
Yeah,
you
you
realize
have no
to make
idea.
the show,
Yeah, you have to be tortured by bad movies.
Yeah, exactly.
It is true. But I wrote a sketch for Killer Fish this last season, and when I went on stage to work, I just happened to walk on when they were filming my sketch, and when Crow was saying the words I wrote, I totally broke down and cried. I really did. Did you have that reaction?
Yeah, when I they put me in the jumpsuit, and it all felt actual life, and so none of it all felt like a version or a dream. And then when I got onto the set, and then the bots came up beside me, and then I saw myself in a monitor, I started to cry.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're like right there. You're on the station. You're like there with the. Yeah, it's cool, guys.
But did she have a question or?
No, she just wanted to tell it. Oh yeah.
Kind of.
Oh, sorry.
Stop speaking over her.
No, it's an honor. It's a privilege. okay, but like, it's not really a question. I just want to say that you both are huge inspirations to me, and that I really, really one day I just want to hug.
Aw, well we'll be over there in our corner.
And hugs are only like $15. If you want me to rest my head on top of yours, it's 20 a pat. Yeah.
Okay, just please keep doing what you do and keep inspiring people.
Oh,
Nice.
thank
Come
you.
by for a
That's
hug, for sure.
wonderful. Yeah,
thank
you
you so
can come by
much.
for a hug. There's next question. Anybody other have a question?
I do see a bunch in the back, but there's also one right to...
Steve, get out there.
Oh, Steve's turning around right there. There's that guy. Yeah. If you want to have a question, just elbow your way to the
I
front.
think you gotta get to this part.
Yeah, you gotta get to Steve. You gotta come forward, Hoppy. Okay, Miss Hoppy.
CJ, by the way.
Your name is DJ?
His name is CJ.
No, it's not. It's Steve.
Right.
Come on.
It's Steve. I just wanted to ask, both of you have played huge, important, championing roles in the recent, upsurge